Hi Prof, my name is Gisela and this is
Linda.
we would like to interview you about the hoax in digital journalism. So, what drives the rise of fake news in the digital era?
What drives fake news? First of all, I would point to an important difference between fake news and hoax. A hoax is a joke. Somebody puts something on the internet with the intention to decept someone, but then to expose it as a joke. Fake news is different. Fake news is someone putting false information deliberately on the internet in order to decept people and not exposing it as a joke. So that's an important difference. Now, what drives people to do that? There are various motivations. I can only speculate. Mostly in the political world, it's perception and the manipulation of perception. So the goal is to manipulate public opinion in a way that people come to a certain conclusion. Like many of the fake news that you can see in the US are manufactured in order to support Trump and his government by disseminating false information. But there are other motivations as well. If you look at the Russian recent moves in order to place false information on the internet, this is profoundly motivated by their intention to manipulate elections in democratic countries and in order to gain more global powers.
Media literacy is matters to tackle the hoax or the fake news. So what are the challenges to increase the media literacy in digital society nowadays?
Well, the challenge is you need to have supporting structures and a supportive infrastructure. That could consist of schools incorporating media literacy in school education, or parents raising awareness among their kids in terms of how to use social media in order to avoid deception by false information. The major issue is that people are using news sources not like a detective looking into what is the source of this message, is this person credible. They just get to see the message and then they say, okay, they take it and they share it with other people, and so it spreads. So the problem is to create awareness among the people so that before they share, they check as to whether the information is actually credible or not. And most people simply don't take the time for that.
How could conventional media maintain the public trust while the fake news or hoax is distributed in social media?
There are things that mainstream media can influence, and there are other things where mainstream media cannot do much in order to change things. People in recent years are much more willing to challenge the epistemic authority of journalism on various grounds. People are more emancipated from authority generally, so they tend to look at everything politicians and the media say with a healthy sense of skepticism. That's okay. And I don't think that the media can do much about it. It's just a sign of democracy and liberation. But at the same time, the media can do a lot in order to challenge fake news and hoaxes in the internet. And actually, many media houses, of which I know, especially of course in the West, in the US, Germany and other countries, they're doing that. They have large teams of journalists, and the only thing they do for the entire workday is checking and verifying information. So what is much more essential than in the good old times when the media were still the gatekeeper is you need people who do the checks. Look into the source of the information. Look even behind the source. Is this Twitter account credible? Is this a real Twitter account? Is this a bot, for instance? And so just to figure out to what extent this information you get is trustworthy and worthy of being published in the mainstream media.
Why social media users so reactive to encounter unverified information and hoax?
What media users should do?
No.
Why?
Why we become so
Well, why do
reactive?
we see so much fake news and hoaxes?
And then the social media user become so reactive.
Oh, sure. Okay. Simply because most hoaxes and fake news are tailored in a way that they immediately attract the interest of the audiences. Think about this famous incident in the US where social media transported news about a pizza shop in Washington D.C., which was supposedly the host or hosting a large which was used as a base for kids abuse. And this news, it was fake news, spread across the internet very rapidly. So the thing is that usually fake news has a tendency to grab people's interest very rapidly. And so you can see in Twitter accounts that if there is some fake news, it spikes very quickly. And then it slows down almost immediately. And so it's just what people find interesting is not necessarily what is real. So we know from a lot of studies that politics can be very boring. So creating fake news, something that people find irritating or something that people find utterly wrong, is kind of instantly grabbing the interest of people. And this is why people often fall victim to this kind of news.
In Indonesia, everyone has access to create their own online media such as news website which is politically driven. Sometimes they wrote hoax article with clickbait titles to gain revenue. What about in Germany? Does Germany have a specific procedure or regulation for online media?
In Germany, we just created some regulation that is supposed to challenge the existence of and the spread of fake news and defamation in the internet. So there is now certain limits as to which you can actually engage in this kind of thing. Although I think that there's little the government can do in order to tackle the problem of fake news. The clickbait issue is different. I think it's not so pertinent to the German context. It's popular among some media, but it's not extremely popular across the board. I can see the intention behind clickbait. It works pretty well. People see this interesting news. It's like the cat videos, so they go to them, and then it becomes a very good hook, a very good vehicle to attract readers' attention towards advertisement. But there's no regulation in Germany that's kind of directed to the existence of clickbait advertisements and clickbait news. And but there's a lot of political efforts now going on in Germany in order to challenge the issue of fake news.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.